everyone, and welcome to game number 13. See what we can do here. It's gonna be a mirror match. Those are always interesting. I feel like there's very little room for error in the mirror match. Two very fast classes clashing here. Once you lose control of the board, fairly unlikely you get it back unless you have a Blade Flurry or a Dark Iron Skulker to really wreck your opponent. So fairly mediocre hand here. Don't want to keep anything. Like, we're looking for our backstabs or zombie chow or auto barbers or, you know, our ringleaders. And yeah, we find two auto barbers, which are great. You know, they are my favorite rogue card for a reason. We'll see what happens here. Our opponent has the coin, so that's obviously an advantage when you are playing in the mirror match. Coin is a free combo initiator, you know, for the Defias ringleader, for an SI agent, a Perdition's Blade, and whatnot. Our turn 2 is fairly easy here. We want to dagger up, we don't just want to play an auto barber. If we play auto barber and he has a backstab, it's really good for him, of course. He plays a Gilblin Stalker, which is a great minion. It doesn't allow us to use anything, no backstab, no dagger, so that's why I'm a huge fan of the Gilblin Stalker, one of the better neutral 2-drops in my opinion. Not much choice here. We have to play an off-curve barber, so I feel pretty vulnerable here. I think at this turn, at the time, I felt like I was losing, which is stupid when you look at the board, but it's actually very legit. Like, you might look at the board and you're like, shady, literally. Nothing has fucking happened, you're not losing, mate. But all he needs is a backstab to get onto the board, and, you know, our Dwarf won't be doing anything because we don't have anything, and he'll have we'll have to play Shredder or Drake into his board, which is 1,000 times worse than, you know, us having initiative on him. So we'll see what he does here. If he doesn't go for the backstab, we're in a pretty decent position. He doesn't have the backstab. I would have slammed it if he had it. He goes for the Ghoul and trade, which of course puts us in a premium position because we have the option to play a second barber and just kill his Ghoul for free. But hey, look who it is there, backstab, the card I've been talking about all the time. Backstab, one of those premium cards in the early game that gets you the board control, and this is why. I bet you a lot of people would have played the barber here, killed his guy and passed, floated 2 mana, but that means you have a 3 damage weapon and 3 damage dude. Tempo wise, it's a lot better to just put the Twilight Drake down, backstab his minion and then kill it. You'll have a 4 and 6 and a 2 damage weapon, which is clearly superior to a 3 and 2 and a 3 damage weapon. Right, so for only 1 less damage on the weapon, we get a 4-6 instead of a 3-2. Yes, you use your backstab, but tempo-wise, that's what the backstab is for. The backstab is sometimes gonna do, you know, less desirable things than, you know, just getting an extra big dagger. But it's 0 mana, so you can't really complain. You know, so tempo play here, we get a big Twilight Drake. That's pretty nice. So we'll see what we can do with that. The opponent, even if he has a silence, he needs to have a backstab to instantly kill the Drake. Okay, this is just phenomenal for us. Him playing that Cobra means that it's time for the barber to come out. And just want to point that out, that tempo-wise it's also the right play. Because, once again, value-wise, it's obviously the right play to play the barber, hit his guy, and then redagger. What do we lose? We lose a dagger. What does he lose? He loses a Cobra. Now you might think, oh man, maybe the tempo play is to just trade and put the knight down, or go face and put the knight down. But if we analyze that, is that true? No, not at all. If we put the barber down, we'll use our weapon and we'll have a 3-2 and a 4-6. If we put the knight down, we'll have a 4-6 and just a 4-6. Right? We'll have a 2 damage weapon, but I'd rather have a 3-2 on the board than a 2 damage weapon in the end. Also, just I'm not anti-value. I'm just really pro tempo. It's just usually those two don't go quite together. But in this case they perfectly do. The tempo play is also the value play. And there we go. So we go from a 2 damage dagger to a 1 damage dagger. That's all good. And then 4 face. Bam! There we go. So we went from a somewhat undesirable position into a prime position. Our opponent had fairly bad luck not having any of the key cards early game to affect the board. No backstab, no Perdition's Blade, no SI7 agent. So here there's a decent play where we dwarf our Drake and we kill his Drake and then go face for 3. However, because of the Frost Elemental, I feel it's better to just freeze the Drake for a turn, deal 7 phase damage here, you know, health. Pretty precious resource for the Rogue. If you bring it low enough, you can't use his phase to clear our board. We could have also just backstabbed it, used our Drake, and then put the Frost Alley down, you know, freeze his face. But I feel like I'd like doing the extra damage here. I also don't like putting my Drake on 2 health yet, just in case he does have a Barber. That way he can't use it on the Drake. Oh yeah, I remember this turn. This is pretty bananas. So 2 Mech Warpers, a Mechanical Yeti, Coin, Dagger, and yep, an Auto Barber. So let's see how much mana he saved here. He played 2 Mech Warpers, that's 4, and then he played a Yeti, that's another 4, that's 8, and then a Barber too. So he developed 10 mana for 4 because he also redaggered. So this game it was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. So he did a 12 mana turn on turn 6. That's pretty ridiculous. Mech Warpers are so good. I keep telling everyone, like, if you see one in the draft early on, definitely pick it up. I mean, this was just crazy, right? 12 mana worth of development on turn 6. No Innervate used or whatever, just Mech Warpers. Anyways, we're still good. The opponent had a really fast turn, but we picked up that second backstab, which is going to be great here. We just backstab the Auto Barber. And from what I can see, it's probably better to just Dark Iron Dwarf the Drake, kill his Drake, put our 5-5 in the 4-5, see which pair part that we get. He'll have 2 Mech Warpers, we have a superior board, it seems fine. We can also put the Ringleader down. Like, we can ignore these and go face, but I don't think there's any reason to lose to you know, some crazy burst damage. Him having an oil and a flurry, for instance. So, like, when you have such favorable traits presented to you, I'm definitely fine taking them. Because we know that he's gonna have to end up sacking Mech Warper, etc. to get back onto the board. There we go. Slight positional error here. The Defias Ringleaders should have been in the middle. Simply because of Betrayal. You always want to put your weak minions in the middle. That way Betrayal doesn't do too much damage. Definitely a good advice for Emperor Cobra as well. That's a minion you definitely don't want to have in the middle. And when an Emperor Cobra gets betrayed, it kills anything it touches. It counts as the damage dealt. As Betrayal says, make the minion do the damage. Okay, so we have a fairly strong board. Suppose he could use his face in the 5-1 and the Mech Warper in the 4-2. Seems what I would do, but we don't know what he drew, so we'll see. So he'll use his... Oh, he's going for the greedy trade. I don't think that's correct. I think that he... On 11 HP, I don't think he can chance it. But we'll see what he has. Maybe he has some taunts or whatever. Can't quite remember the game 100% here. Interesting. Because this is a lot of damage that he's keeping alive. So, taunt, yes. Ah, sabotage. Okay, now it makes more sense. You know, he killed the weak minion so that he had more chance to hit a bigger minion. But then, honestly, I think he made an ordering mistake, guys. Wouldn't it have been better if he had just killed the Defias first with the Mech Warper, then sabotage? You have more chance to not hit the 2-1, because there would have been a Drake, a Dwarf, and a 5-1. You have 3 targets that are desirable for sabotage and 1 that's not desirable. With this sabotage, he had 2 targets that were desirable for sabotage and 1, so he gave himself a 33% chance for failure here, whereas the other play has only a 25% chance for failure. So I believe it would have been better if he had done that first. So, you know, even a small ordering mistake, you know, this is an 11-1 rogue, this person is obviously a good player, but you can see that those small things can happen to anyone. We could also argue that he wanted more chance to take out the high HP Dwarf, but I think when you're on 11 HP, you can't be in a position to be that greedy. I don't know, it felt better to me. There we go, 5 phase. There's no need to clear his board here, guys. When he's that low, that elemental is going in his face. You want to threaten his life total. His Mech Warper is gonna trade into our guy anyway, and here we play the Spectral Knight rather than the Rocketeer, because as you guys could see, we were 1 damage off lethal here with the Reckless Rocketeer, but it's better to put the Spectral Knight down first. He can't target that, you know, he can't sap it, for instance. Shredder could have gotten sapped. We've already seen a Sabotage being used, so he probably doesn't have a second one for the Spectral Knight. So yeah, if he can't clear this, he's 1 damage from lethal, like we're damage from 1 damage from lethal. But he has an oil, so now we can trade in. But with our hand, with the Rocketeer, we do have lethal anyway. So GG, well played, guys. 12-1, respectable run. Yeah, just a lot of fun. I also really enjoyed doing these series, so definitely let me know below in the comments what you think of these videos. Whether I should do another one of those, an in-depth discussion of one of my 12 win runs. We could even do a, I don't know, a failed run where I made a ton of mistakes. Can analyze those mistakes. It's just usually a lot easier if we do a 12 win run. Then I have a lot of games to talk about. There's more chance that there are a lot of interesting things to talk about. Generally gonna play against better players as well. I do assume that the next video will be for the Grand Tournament already, seeing as from the time that I record this, we're gonna be 2 weeks further, seeing as we're releasing these videos daily. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.